What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Boozer here. Thanks for stopping by. Hopefully you guys having a good Monday so far, start of the week and all that. Let's start off right with some Plarium news. We got some CVC progressive events happening. There's going to be two separate events, so I'm going to break it down for you guys here. And of course, CVC will be happening in about 21 hours. We will be streaming CVC this week, so make sure you guys drop on by if you guys are hanging out on YouTube. Usually I start the stream about a couple hours after it starts. It's pretty early in the morning for me, but rise and grind, right guys? It's a non-personal reward, so no stress, but it gives people an opportunity to get some points for maybe building out their Titus or Titus teams and all that. So that's probably what we'll be focusing on as well. So make sure you guys drop on by. With that being said, let's hop into this bit of news here. So on day one, we have a progressive event for the following. So right here, this Tuesday, July 15th, we're planning a launch progressive event, giving you 15x chance to summon the champions of your choice from the selected pool from the Ancient, Primal, Sacred, and Void shards. So let's take a quick look at these champions here. It looks like the day one we have Osgron the Defiler. So he's one of the newer champions in this game. He's from the Dwarf faction, Osgron here. He looks really, really good in terms of his overall kit. On first look, I kind of misread his A2 a little bit, but it still doesn't mean the overall assessment of him changed. He's still extremely good. Let's take a quick look here. Good base speed, 109. He's got an A1 here. Single target hit, 50% chance of increasing the cooldown of a random active skill by 2 turns. So this is similar to Arman's ability. But you also have this team-wide 10% turn meter fill, which is really, really strong. This is a really powerful A1. Let's move on to his A2. So initially I misread this slightly, but it's still a very strong ability. So on this ability, he's at 3-turn cooldown when fully booked. 100% chance of removing all buffs from all enemies, so it's a strip. Then it decreases the turn meter of all those enemies whose turn meter is equal to or lower than 50% by 20%. So you reduce the turn meter by 20% if they're 50% or lower. If the enemy's turn meter is more than 50%, decrease it to 50% instead. So initially I read this as decrease it by 50%. So it's actually decrease it to 50%. So you could be at 51% turn meter and it would just decrease to 50%. So obviously the upside is higher if the champion is really high in the turn meter, but you could kind of say on average you're getting about 20, maybe a 30% turn meter drop most of the time, I would say. And then it also has a 100% chance of placing a stun debuff for 1 turn on enemies whose turn meters was reduced to 50%. So basically if the turn meter is above 50% and it gets reduced to 50%, you will apply a stun. But if they're already quite low on turn meter, you won't be applying the stun. It's on a 3-turn cooldown. Now, if you compare this to somebody like Arman's who has the AoE turn meter full drop, it's not even a drop, it's like a steal, which is crazy. And then it has the stun no matter what, no condition. This ability looks not that good compared to Arman's ability. But honestly, this ability is still very, very powerful. Arman's just has a super busted A2, but this ability is no slouch and it's still very, very strong. So Osgron has a really, really powerful A1, better than Arman's, and he has an A2 similar to Arman's, but not as powerful. He also comes in here with an A3, is an ally attack, and it comes in with an increased attack and a shatter buff. The 7.5% shatter buff. So basically shatter is applying ignore defense. It's an ignore defense buff to your whole team. So you're increasing your team by 50% attack, and then you're adding a 7.5% ignore defense to your whole team. A set like the Cruel set gives you 5% ignore defense, so you can kind of think about it like that. If a target is killed by this ability, decrease the cooldowns of all allies' active skills except this champion by 1 turn. Now this is a really, really powerful ability if he manages to kill somebody. If you guys will recall, Cardio has a similar ally attack where if he kills somebody with the ally attack, he gets a 1-turn cooldown reduction on the ally attack. Now, if this guy kills somebody with the ally attack, the whole team gets all their cooldowns reset. It's actually pretty wild in terms of comparison. So a very, very powerful ally attack ability on Osgron. And his passive here is a passive effect. Allies inflict 20% more damage against enemies under stun. So he can play stun himself. It's not a guarantee or anything, but this ability doesn't require the stun to be placed by him, which is pretty insane. So you could put him with another stunner to guarantee the increased damage boost. Now, unfortunately, this is more wave based and arena based. It's not going to help you in like boss encounters or anything like that. His active effect on a 4-turn cooldown, whenever an ally is killed, instantly activates the A2. So the A2 instantly activates. Will not prevent the skill from cooldown during multiple blah blah blah. So he instantly activates this. So if an ally is killed, he comes in with a strip and then turn meter drop and then potentially a stun. So very, very powerful active effect here. It's on a 4-turn cooldown, so it's not going to happen all the time, but still very, very powerful. 28% speed in arena, so slightly better than Arman's. To me, I think they're making a champion similar to Arman's, but not quite at his level. Although, you know, Osgron's more offensive focus. He has a team buff, team ignore, defense buff, and then of course the bonus here for stun targets. So slightly different targeted team comps, but still similar kind of kit. Looks like a great champ to me. He's going to be available on day 1. Definitely the more headline champion here. After that, we have First Axe Tuskkor. The First Axe Tuskkor here is going to be from the Ogryn tribes. He's more of a damage dealer. He's set up as a damage dealer, but he doesn't hit super hard. I think he comes in here with extra turn mechanic on his A1, has some bonus damage here for buffs on him, also can self buff, ignore shields, and then grants extra turns. So he has some extra turn mechanics, some buff damage buffing mechanics, and his passive here gives him extra crit damage for extra turns this champion has taken. It seems to me like, practically speaking, there's a bit of too much setup. There's a bit too much setup for this champion to do kind of mediocre-ish damage. His attack is average at best, base stat-wise. He doesn't ignore defense, which is probably the most basic kind of damage mechanic you need to have in a kit to do a lot of damage. So for me, a bit of a pass here. Moving on to the next champion up for grabs for the 15X is Duchess at Lilitu. So Duchess here coming from the Demon Spawns. Really awesome for, like, you know, Faction Wars hard. She's been absolutely incredible. Obviously, if you have her, she full clears the Veil condition. She just carries your team into the higher stages. I actually had to run both my Duchesses for level 21, and that was able to get it through. But yeah, still incredible team support here. She's got an A1 10% shield. And then now she got the 4-turn block debuff, increased attack, perfect veil. Still very good. Can use his ability for places like Chimera, which is really good for the plus attack and the perfect veil trials. And then the 4-turn team-wide revive with 70% HP. Very high HP, but no turn meter boost. She does provide the team with the Veil and Continuous Heal, which does offer some protection. Great passive here, reduces AoE damage and then speed in all battles. Aura, great base stats. Still a great champion here in 2025, just not as crazy and not crazily used in Arena anymore. There's just even crazy more insane champions nowadays. A bit of power creep for Duchess, but still a great champion here in 2025. Up next, we have Glaicad of the Meltwater. Now, Glaicad is a champion that I'm really interested in, and I wish I had myself. Similar to Duchess, very, very similar kit. Similar base stats, a bit higher base speed, same aura. He brings a more kind of PvP focused A1, can put down conditional freeze. You don't need to build accuracy in this, just let it happen with the 50% HP or less conditions because it cannot be resisted. So no need to build accuracy. His A2 is very similar to Duchess, where it brings the increased attack, perfect veil, but instead of block debuffs, he brings 15% turn meter boost. Now, depending on the situation or the team comp, the turn meter boost is infinitely more powerful and effective than having block debuffs. So it really depends on the team composition. He also brings a similar kind of revive as well, 4-turn revive for the whole team. But in this case, Glaicad offers increased accuracy and increased defense instead of perfect veil and continuous heals that Duchess brings. Lastly, the passives are quite different. So Duchess brings damage reduction for your whole team, but Glaicad here brings you a damage boost. So allies under perfect veil placed by this champion deal 10% more damage. So Glaicad here offers up to 4 buffs, so you can put him in a 9-piece protection set, and he offers a passive that gives you 10% more damage. So the way I view it is that Glaicad is more of a damage focused version of Duchess, whereas maybe Duchess provides more protection for your team with Veil and continuous heals. Glaicad here doesn't offer you any kind of healing, but he gives you a lot more damage potential with the turn meter boosting, passive that boosts damage and all that. So it depends what you guys are looking for, but I would love Glaicad myself. And lastly, for the non-voids for day one, we have Eostrid Dream Song here. She was an old fusion about a year and a bit ago. Very, very good fusion. Awesome. Tailor-made for Hydra. She has a kit that's kind of, kind of split between Hydra and Arena, but she can definitely be used in Arena as well. Top base speed here, 115, 28% in Arena battles. She got a sleep, which can be very, very annoying, especially in PvP settings. Got a great turn meter boost here with the decreased speed and weaken. That's an AoE attack, so you can fail on the weaken and the decreased speed, but you always get the turn meter boost. And then she has an A3 here that increases speed and then increases attack with another turn meter boost as well, and an extra turn. So basically, you come in here with the A3, you increase speed, turn meter boost, and then you come back in here with the decrease turn meter. Sorry, I think I said increased turn meter earlier, but it's a decreased turn meter. So this move is heavily based on accuracy, whereas this move you get it all the time. So you get increased speed, increased turn meter, and then decreased speed, decreased turn meter. Sorry, but great booster here. Also comes with a passive with a small heal, so a little bit of support. She's going to be up for grabs. I use her in Hydra quite a bit. I've seen her used in Arena as well as main speed booster. But yeah, great champ, great fusion from the past. As for the Void Champions up for grabs in this day one, we have from the Night Res, we have the Queen of Hearts. So occasionally I do see the Queen of Hearts in live arena. She's a great counter to champions like Sifi, basically capitalizing on her passive. For every 10 buffs the enemy team places, grant this champion extra turn. So if you bring the Queen of Hearts in against a team with Sifi, it's really hard to deal with the Queen of Hearts because she basically gets an instant turn as soon as Sifi uses her team buffs ability. And then she'll come in with the A2, strip everything off, and then place a Death Brand and True Fear on everybody. This is a very crippling and scary ability. And if she somehow gets into the ally attack, it can be very powerful as well. So either way, she's going to get a turn. Either she's going to crowd control you, strip all your stuff off, or she's going to ally attack and kill one of your guys off. She also brings an A1, which is probably one of the most craziest A1s in the game. AoE, decreased defense, no percentage chance to land. It just lands and it's the place. And she's Void Affinity as well. And it comes with a turn meter boost. So it's pretty insane. But yeah, she's going to be up for grabs on the Void side. And then after that, we have Suzanne the Valorious from the Shadowkins here. I would say she's probably the best speed booster in the game. Definitely one of the scariest speed boosters you can see in live arena. Comes in here with the big live arena aura, 30%. An A1 block active, very, very annoying A1. She's got the A2 here, target an ally if it's not under sheep, places increased attack, increased crit rate, increased crit damage, instant turn, and this is the moneymaker here. Very scary when she applies all this stuff to the nuker, and then she just ends fights with that ability. She also has an A3 here on the 4-turn cooldown with a turn meter fill and an increased speed. Also has a turn meter pushback with a decreased speed as well. Very, very powerful turn meter booster here with the A3. And a passive here, increase champion's accuracy to the amount of speed they have. So she instantly gets, plus 400 or whatever ungodly amount of accuracy she gets from her ungodly amount of speed that she gets. One of the best turn meter booster, if not the best turn meter booster in the game for sure. And yeah, she's going to be up for grabs on day one. Lastly, for the Void Champions, we have from the Orc faction, Raka Valtide. So I just picked up this champion. She's pretty good. A little bit like Duchess in a way, a little bit. She does bring a cleanse, increase attack with a shield on a 3-turn cooldown. It's solid. And then she does bring a team revive on a 4-turn with block debuffs and 50% HP and 50% turn meter. It's pretty standard. It's good, but it's nothing insane anymore. Also brings speed in all battles. Passive here with passive turn meter boost and passive continuous heal. Not a bad champion. Base stats I don't really like. If you compare her to Duchess, Duchess is almost 23k HP. So she's definitely giving up a bunch of HP stats to Duchess. Basically for meaningless attack. It's kind of sucky, but it is what it is. So on day one, we're looking at Suzanne, going to be the main prize here, and Osgron the Defiler would be really, really cool. However, Duchess, Glaicad, Eostrid are all very strong non-voids. And honestly, all the voids are pretty good, but Suzanne's going to be the best from day one. All right, so moving on to day two. So starting off here, same thing. It's going to be a progressive event. We're going to start off here with one of the newer champions in the game, Amok, the first Satrap. From the Lizardman, it's the Toad. This guy is so cool. I love his aesthetic. Good base stats overall. Let's check out his kit here. He's got an A1, 100% chance of stealing one random buff from the target. Also has a 70% chance of placing leech. So it's single target buff steal with the leech placement. Nothing too crazy, but it's decent. And then he's got an A2 here on a 3-turn cooldown. Attack one enemy. Has a 100% chance of placing decreased resistance, pain link, decreased speed. These buffs are protected when placed on bosses. Now, this ability is very, very powerful against the Chimera boss, especially if you're trying to tackle some of the trials. It also comes with a heal by 5% of this champion's max HP for each debuff placed. So potentially 15% team heal here. A nice little A3 going into his, A2, going into his A3. He places a block debuff on your whole team on a 4-turn cooldown. Also brings a heal. It gets boosted for each debuff getting removed. He also has this kind of cool negative affecting stat, kind of flipping debuffs into buffs. So if your champion has decreased attack, it flips into increased attack. So it's a pretty interesting kind of almost situational block debuff placement here, because obviously you look for the maximum value. So if your team has block debuff has debuffs on them, then you can use this ability, get a big heal, and then obviously get some buffs in the process. It's very powerful. It's on a 4-turn, so it's not as consistent as like 3-turn cooldowns, but on a 4-turn you get quite a bit of value from it. You get the removals, and then you get the buffs added as well as the heal. And then lastly, his passive here increases champion's max HP by 10% whenever this champion heals themselves using a skill up to 50%. So his max HP goes up, all his heals get stronger and all that. So he gets a heal here on his A3, and he gets a heal here on his A2. So pretty nice. Over a long fight, he should get the full benefit from his passive, basically benefiting his whole team. So pretty good support champion. Obviously, this A2 is targeted towards Chimera and all that, which is going to be pretty interesting. And he's going to be up for grabs on day 2. After him, we have Lysanthier Beastbane, so a pretty recent fusion here from the High Elves faction defense-based Lysanthier. He got a lot of flack during the whole fusion process. I don't think he's as bad as people think. He brings decreased speed and weaken on a 3-turn cooldown. I think this is solid, just enough. This is a solid enough ability for him to be used in a lot of teams. He's a good base defense. He's supposed to be a defense-based damage dealer. He has a pretty strong A2 here, which he always uses during ally attacks and all that, and could pitch in quite a bit of damage. His A1 does self-buff increased crit damage, which could cause some problems if you're fighting the Head of Mischief, for example. And he has an interesting passive here that no one really has. He ignores life barrier and ally protection buffs. So it's kind of like, it's kind of a passive to fight against the Hydras when they, kind of eat your guys and then they have life barrier on. It kind of helps there, I guess. And then he also has an interesting mechanic here where he deals additional damage to heads that has devoured allies already. So the more your allies get devoured, the more damage this skill does. It's super niche, and it's only for super long fights and all that, because then obviously you're not going to fully realize 50% stack up here. But ignoring all that stuff, this ability is perfectly good and fine for Hydra, so he's not a bad champion. Got a lot of flack as a fusion, but he is there. So after Lysanthier, we have Kerin the Harvester. Kerin the Harvester here from the Lizardman. He's pretty new. I did do a showcase on this champion. I think his kit doesn't really make too much sense to me. When I was showcasing him, it really showed that the kit just doesn't really work too well. So quickly we'll go over it here. On his A1, he's got an AoE attack. He's got a chance to place decreased speed on an A1. Very, very good. He's got an A2 here. Single target. Put that target skills on cooldown. So it's single target lockout on a 3-turn. And then he has a 100% chance of decreasing the turn meter of all enemies under sleep. So they have to be under sleep for this to happen. Has a 100% chance of decreasing the turn meter of all enemies without sleep by 30%. So either way, you're going to get a turn meter drop here. You're going to get a single target lockout with a full enemy turn meter pushback. His A3 here is an AoE attack, 4-turn cooldown. Has a 100% chance of placing sleep for 1 turn. Will ignore block debuffs, then gives an extra turn. Problem here is affinity, so it's not going to always land. You have Prince Kymar having a similar ability where he can sleep everybody, but it also strips all their buffs. That makes it really, really good. So this ability, it's it's really interesting, right? Because what you kind of want to do is you go everybody sleep, and then what are you gonna do? You're not gonna do the A1 where you place an AoE and you wake everybody up. So what you're gonna do is probably put everybody to sleep, and then you're gonna use your A2 where you wake one of them up, and then put that champion on cooldown, and then you push everybody's turn meter back on his A2. So it's a very not cohesive. I think if this ability was a single target ability with some a better effect, and if this was a touchless, like no touch ability, that would make more sense. But if you're putting everybody to sleep and then you're waking one champion up right away, or all of them up, like if this is on cooldown and then you use this and then you have to wake everybody up with an AoE, it's just doesn't make sense to me. His passive here, he has a bit of turn meter protection here, decreases the value of turn meter fill effects by 25%. And then he has an active ability here on a 1-turn cooldown. Whenever a sleep debuff is removed or expired, instantly activates Thresh Master, which is 2 on that target. So basically, if somebody wakes up, he's going to use the A2 on them, lock them out, and push back turn meter. But if they wake up due to damage, then this won't happen. It's an interesting thing. It's kind of like if you think about the whole Chagar thing where he just comes in and counterattacks, puts them to sleep. So this guy just kind of does something similar, but they have to wake up. So if they wake up from their sleep, he's going to come back in, lock them out, push back turn meter and all that. But at some point, you're probably just going to wake them up with damage. So it's interesting. Anyways, he brings 80 accuracy in arena battles as well. I couldn't get this guy to work. Make sure you guys check out the showcase on him. I'll link it in the description, but I don't think he's a great champion. It just has a kit that doesn't work in the current content. After him, we have Nekmothar. Now, the Nekmothar is an insane champion. He's shown a lot of value over the years. Great champion for Hydra and great champion for Chimera. Spring of speed in all battles aura. It's got turn meter boost, big turn meter boost with the increased speed here. And then he's got decreased speed, leech, and decreased attack on AoE here. Very, very powerful turn meter champion here for all your boss encounters. Very, very good. And then lastly, for the non-voids, we have Morrigaine. Morrigaine was a gold fusion, and she comes in here. Good base speed. She's got this got good speed in all battles. She brings a single target decreased speed on the A1. 100% chance to steal on the A2, and then also places fear on all enemies, and then places decreased accuracy if it's a boss instead. Like, obviously, this ability is not crazy strong. I'm pretty sure if you made a champion with this kind of ability in 2025, it would just be steal all buffs from all enemies and then place all fear. Nowadays, like, so she just has a single target, steal, and then fear on everybody. So this ability, obviously not that effective, especially against arena, but in PvE content, still perfectly fine. It brings a turn meter drop and then turn meter fill with increased speed on the A3. Very powerful, very good speed booster here on the A3. Passive. Now this is probably the thing that makes her really, really special. She places the 100% real heal reduction that is protected, so it can't be removed or anything like that. So it's actually really good against like Amius. It just kind of places it on him against a single target enemy. It's very, very powerful, and actually it could be annoying. Like if you fight Morrigaine in some waves, it can be pretty annoying. But yeah, for a fusion that's already a couple years old, that was kind of considered kind of mid-ish. A lot of people skipped her, I remember. She's still finding some use now in 2025, so good for her. And she rounds out all the non-voids for this day. For the void champions, we got some pretty strong ones here, starting off with Fighty Tealcrest. So Fighty Tealcrest here, very, very powerful kit. Good base stats overall. Got an A1 team-wide heal, and then he's got an A2 here. AoE attack, strip all buffs before attacking, places block buffs, decrease speed, and a turn meter fill. Very powerful. He's also void affinity here, so you're not going to do any kind of weak hits or anything like that. And then his best move is A3, places increased resistance, perfect veil, and a decrease the cooldown of all allies' active skills except this champion by 3 turns. So he brings a 3-turn cooldown reduction. It's on a 4-turn rotation, so it's very, very quick to come back to it. That's probably the best thing about it. His passive boosts the the effectiveness of turn meter fills a little bit if you're under hard CC, so it gives you a little bit of extra recovery. And then he also places increased speed when you come out of sheep, again giving you some more recovery when you're coming out of those hard CCs. Bring resistance in all battles for 80. Probably would have liked to see maybe speed in all battles instead of resistance, but he does bring increased resistance himself, which can be very, very good. Makes building teams out a little bit easier. He's going to be in a lot of teams, Hydra teams, Chimera teams, just to boost damage and all that. Also, increased resistance can be very, very good. Makes, like I said, building teams a lot easier. So he will be up for grabs on day 2. Up next for the Void Champions, we have Hegemon from the Night Revs. So Hegemon, really good to have in your live arena roster, basically as a check champion at the end. If you're up against a speed team and you are not sure if you're going to win, Hegemon will win that speed fight for you, and then basically potentially could really just cripple your opponent because your opponent might not be ready for somebody like Hegemon. A powerful Hegemon at the on the last pick can really just derail your opponent's plans if they're going for full speed, if they don't have Stone Skin or anything like that, or they have no way to protect against Hegemon. It might force them to ban Hegemon, and then that could obviously work in your advantage. But very, very good. Obviously, Stone Skin put this guy out of the meta for a long time, but now he's kind of back in live arena since speed has come back. He always goes first, so when he goes first, you have to be worried about him pushing back turn meter with his A1 with a decreased speed, or just full nuking down your entire team if you're not protected from damage like with Stone Skin or a shield right away. Still very good. I wish I had one on my main account just as a extra tool for the live arena. Up next for the voids, last void for this day 2, we have Supreme Gaelic from the Orc faction here. So Supreme Gaelic, I believe, is a free promo code at one point. I don't think he's available anymore, but very good champion here. He brings the, I believe, AoE, here we go, AoE block buffs on a 3-turn cooldown. Very, very good with decreased speed, HP burn. This ability is extremely strong for Hydra, so decreased speed and HP burn is very good. He self-buffs himself a little bit, gives himself a bunch of turn meter as well. Has a extension on the A1, and he has a passive here that whenever this champion receives any kind of hard CC, instantly removes it, then heals the champion, grants an extra turn. So this is actually a pretty strong passive. Lately Gaelic, Supreme Gaelic has been showing up in the Faction Wars hard waves, and this passive is pretty annoying. And then it comes in with the instant turn and then the AoE block buffs. Very annoying champion. And then he has a nice 33% ally attack boost in all battles aura. He's decent. He's still decent, but his main use case will be for Hydra to supply the AoE block buffs, decrease speed, and then provide a bit of damage with the HP burn. So if you have one, definitely slot him into one of your Hydra teams unless you have something better. But anyways, guys, that's going to be the progressive event for day 2. So obviously, Amok, the first Satrap, looks very interesting. Would definitely like to have that champion. And of course, Fighty would probably be the main prize. Although Hegemon probably would be very interesting as well. Like if I were to choose which champion to pick, those would probably be the champions I would be interested in. Of course, myself personally, I never really pull for progressive events. The odds of pulling a champion are just really horrible. Unless you know your Mercy's coming up and you're targeting